Hi everyone! Do you realize sometimes when you wanted to say something, it comes out sounding a little weird, but somehow it does make sense? Such as you wanted to say, I need to feed the dog, but the words that come out from your mouth is, I need to dog the feet. This happens when our brain are rushing to build a sentence but accidentally swap the words and put them in the wrong order.
Moving on, we're going to dive into why word order matters. Word order is essential for clarity. A small mix up can completely change the meaning. For example, instead of saying my sister went to the Grand Canyon, you might say the Grand Canyon went to my sister. These errors show how fast and complex our brain's speech processes are. Speech happens in three steps. First, at the conceptual level, we decide what to say. Second, at the functional level, we tag words with roles like subject or object. And third, finally, at the positional level, we arrange them into order. Sometimes, these steps don't align. For instance, the dog chased the cat could come out as the cat chased the dog. There are three factors contributing to errors. First, heroes. Keywords like subjects take priority and may jump ahead. Second, cascades. Words from later stages spill into earlier ones, causing mix-ups like Sam gave Chris the book instead of Chris gave Sam the book. And the third one, buffers. Temporary storage for words sometimes misfires, disrupting the sequence. Have you ever mixed up names or phrases? That's your brain trying to keep up. So why do these errors happen? First, speed. Our brains process speech at 150 words per minute, leaving little room for correction. Second, cascading activation. Partially prepared words leak into earlier stages. And the third one is tagging mistakes. Words are assigned the wrong roles, like swapping subject and the object. Studying these errors help us understand normal speech processes and diagnose conditions like aphasia. These slip-ups offer valuable insights into how our brains handle language.
Next part is slots and fillers. Our brain works like a slot system when organizing sentences. Each word has a specific place or slot in the sentence structure. At the functional level, word concept or lemmas are tagged with roles like theme for subject or goal for object. And then at the positional level, syntax arranges these words into proper slots, creating a sentence structure. For example, in the sentence, my sister went to the Grand Canyon, the theme or subject is my sister, the verb is went, and the goal or object is the Grand Canyon. And mistakes can happen at either level. For functional error, it is when entire phrases are swapped, like saying the Grand Canyon went to my sister. And for positional error, it is when individual words are swapped, as in stop beating your brake against the head wall. Next is formulas and cliches. Formulas and cliches help us communicate more efficiently. Formulas are prefabricated phrases with customizable slots. For example, may I please have some food or drink? Food or drink is the customizable slots. And then, are we at destination yet? Destination is the customizable slots. So these are useful for children in learning language patterns early. For second language learners, it is used to sound fluent quickly, and then for people with aphasia, it is to retain basic communication ability. Cliches and proverbs are common phrases that simplify speech. For example, as dead as a doornail, which means a totally dead. And then a stitch in time saves time, which means it is better to solve the problem immediately before it becomes a bigger one. Sometimes two formulas get mixed up and creating a blend error. For example, oh, help all you want. It is a mixed up from help yourself and take all you want.
Hello guys. So for the next part, I will be explaining about errors in word making. Do you guys know that errors can involve morphemes, not just sounds or syllables? But first, do you know what morphemes are? Morphemes are the smallest meaningful units in a word. So if the smallest meaningful unit is wrong itself, that would surely ruin the whole sentence. For moving on to the next part, I would like you all to know what are the errors first. So can you identify for me what are the types of errors that are made from the Franklin's collection below? I will give you time to think about it. Time's up! So this is the answer from the errors that are made from before. Do you guys got it right? But before that, do you even know what are the names of the errors that are made, such as easy enoughly to easily enough? What kind of name is this? So we'll be diving to it right now. So for the first errors, we got exchange error, which are errors made when switching parts of word while keeping their endings in place. As you can see, we changed the neither learns to learner needs to correct the version. So for the next errors, we got blend errors, which are errors made when mixing parts of two possible words, such as momentaneous. It should have been momentary or instantaneous. For the next error, we got deletion error, which are error made when omitting a repeated morphemes, such as did the turn out turn okay? It should have been did the print out turn out okay? They think that they should remove the out, but no. So for the last error, we got a fixed error. Some example includes she ran faster than me, which should have been she ran faster than me. These errors occur when affixes are detached and also misuse affix. So for the next example, we got easy enoughly, which should have been easily enough. This error occurred due to misplace of affix in a
So,
sentence.
after I explain all the errors, can you guys identify what types of errors that are happening on this sentence? Time's up. So, the answer is deletion error. Notice how the unnecessary removal of is in the sentence.
Phew, that's a lot of errors. It does make me wonder, how does errors even happen? How can people make this mistake? I probably does make the same mistake before. Can you guys think about it for a second? There are many factors errors happen in a speech. Some of it includes misactivation of lemma, which happens when the brain selects the wrong representation of words, which are called lemma, for a word during speech production. The next one is misplacement of morphemes, which happen when the grammatical marker or smaller units of meaning are incorrectly assigned or stranded during speech production. So the last one is processing overload. It occurs when the brain is overwhelmed by the demands on organizing complex linguistic information under time constraint, such as translating from your native language to English.
Understanding phonological encoding errors. Phonological encoding errors occur when there's disruption in planning the sequence of phonemes, the individual sound in a phrase. These errors come in various forms, such as segment exchanges, like saying odd hack instead of ad hoc. Segment shifts, such as ice cream cone instead of ice cream cone. Omission, where a sound is dropped, like unanimity for unanimity. And blends, where two words mix, like horrible from horrible and terrible. What fascinating is that even though these errors create non-words, they still follow English phonetic rules, meaning they sound like real English words. How phonological encoding works. Phonological encoding is the process of organizing the sound we need for speech. At the phonological encoding level, the brain starts with lemmas or word stems and convert them into ordered string of phonemes, the individual sound of a word. This process also includes adding affixes like prefixes or suffixes and other morphemes, which are the smallest unit of meaning. These phonemes are then stored temporarily in the phonological buffer, which hold them in order until it's time to produce the phrase. The buffer is designed to handle about one phrase at a time. However, error can occur during this process, which is overactivation happens when a phoneme is too strong and moved to the wrong position. Another one is underactivation occurs when a phoneme is too weak and gets dropped. This dynamic process is essential for fluent speech, but small disruption can lead to noticeable errors. Clinical importance of understanding errors. Understanding the distinction between types of speech error is essential for effective therapy. Let's start with distinction between two levels. At the phonological encoding level, errors happen when the brain selects the wrong sounds, but they are still pronounced correctly. At the speech speech gesture level, errors occur during the physical articulation of those sounds, often resulting in distorted or unclear pronunciation. The difference has significant clinical implication. Misdiagnosing the level of error can lead to ineffective therapy. For example, if a client struggles with encoding but therapy focuses on articulation, it won't address the real issue. It is also important to explain this distinction to clients and their families. They might assume that difficulties in speaking stem from physical problems like the mouth or muscles. Clarifying this builds understanding and trust in the therapy process.
A speech gesture in phonetics is the movement of speech organs like the tongue, lips, and vocal cords, or we call that the articulators, to produce a specific sound. So each gesture is of like physical action, like closing the lips to make the sound of p, or raising the tongue for t. These movements are carefully timed and often overlap to create fluent speech. So speech gestures are building blocks of how we physically process sounds when we talk. There are two types of speech gesture error. So the first one is inaccurate target and the second one is mistiming. Inaccurate target, there's a lot of speech error. The first one is substitution error. So substitution error is replacing one sound with another, like we are trying to say cat, but we say tat. The second one is omission error, which is we are leaving out a sound completely, like we are trying to say cat, the same vocab, cat, but we say ka. The third one is distortion error, which is we're producing a sound that incorrectly. We will make it more unclear or unusual. Like some people want to say sun, but they say thun, thun. And then we have addition, incomplete, overlapping, blended, or transposition. The second one is mistiming. Mistiming is basically about timing issues. So they are incorrectly coordinating the timing of different parts of speech process. It will affect the smoothness and clarity and make it sound more marshy and slurred.
Hello everyone! For this part, I would like to explain about double whammies and worse, multiple cis errors versus self-monitoring. First of all, I would like to talk about multiple cis errors. When do multiple cis errors occur? Multiple cis errors occur when different levels of linguistic processing such as semantic, syntactic, morphological, and phonological. The example used involve the two words, which is magician and musician. The two words are very similar across multiple linguistic dimensions, such as semantic, both refer to skilled professionals who perform for an audience, but in different contexts, which is magic versus music. Second, syntax, both are nouns. Third, morphology, both are formed with the same stem and the same affix, indicating a person involved in an activity. The last one is phonology. The words share similar sound, syllable count, and stress pattern. Due to these similarities, activation in the brain for magician can spill over into the activation for musician, leading to the unintended error. This happened at various stages of speech production, causing magician to take over and replace musician in the final output. Another additional example that can be related to this is accept versus accept. The similarity is they are close in pronunciation and often get mixed up in speech. How about self-monitoring? What is it actually about? Self-monitoring is the ability to recognize potential errors before they are spoken. This skill allows speakers to stop themselves from making error in real time. However, self-monitoring requires attention and effort, and when someone is distracted or tired, they are less likely to catch errors. In case where the errors is caused by words that are highly similar, such as magician and musician, self-monitoring become even more challenging. Self-monitoring do help to reduce multiple cis error by, firstly, improving clarity. Self-monitoring allow you to evaluate what you are saying in real time. This can help you identify if you are introducing conflicting or redundant information from different sources. By catching this error while speaking, you can adjust your language to maintain clarity and coherence. Secondly, improving focus and avoiding distractions. Self-monitoring can help you to stay focused on the main point that you want to communicate. It minimizes distraction or side conversation that might pull in irrelevant or conflicting information from various sources, ensuring that your message is more cohesive and focused. Thirdly, identifying gaps in understanding. Self-monitoring allows you to recognize when you are uncertain or when you have said something that might be incorrect, enabling you to pause and either correct yourself or seek clarification rather than continuing with potential error. How to apply self-monitoring in our daily conversation? Firstly, pause and reflect. If you feel like you might be missing out sources or ideas, pause for a moment to gather your thought. Secondly, simplify your message. If you find yourself introducing too many sources or information, try to distill the message down to key point only. How about people with aphasia? Do they have any relation with multiple cis errors? People with aphasia, which is a language disorder, often make this type of errors more frequently. It does impact in speech, writing, and understand both spoken and written language. Here, I would like to explain about two different aphasia, which are Wernicke aphasia and Broca's aphasia. Wernicke aphasia is a type of language disorder that affects a person's ability to understand and produce meaningful speech, typically resulting from damage to the left temporal lobe. One of the core symptoms of Wernicke aphasia is the production of fluent speech that lacks meaningful content, sometimes referred to as word salad, where individuals use incorrect words. This can make communication difficult and confusing for both the person with aphasia and those who interacting with them. Moving on to the Broca's aphasia, also known as non-fluent aphasia, is characterized by difficulty in producing speech due to the damage to the Broca's area in the frontal lobe of the brain. This area is critical for speech production and grammatical processing. People with Broca's aphasia have relatively preserved comprehension but struggle with speech production, which tend to be slow, effortful, and grammatical incomplete, such as they often omit small functional words like is, the, or in, and have difficulty forming full sentences.
Let's dive into the last subtopic, summary of sentence production from ideas to articulation. Before we explore the details, let's take an overview. Sentence production is a complex process that involves transforming ideas into structured language and then into physical speech. This process transforms ideas into speech through 5 stages. Stage 1 is the message level, where ideas are generated from sensory input, memories, and focus. For example, when describing the Grand Canyon, you decide whether to highlight its size, beauty, or history. But you can't focus on everything at once. When your thoughts complete, this is why you might pause or stumble while deciding what to say. At the functional level, words take on roles like agent and undergoer. In the sentence, the baby eats ice cream, the baby becomes the agent, and the ice cream is the undergoer. This step ensures each word has a function within the sentence. Next is the positional level, where the sentence structure takes shape. Syntax rules determine word order. For instance, she broke the vase follow a subject-verb-object pattern. Words that are ready too early are held in a buffer until it's charted. In the phonological encoding level, grammar and sounds are finalized. For example, broke replace breaks, and phonemes are assembled. This prepares the sentence for articulation by aligning its grammatical and phonetics details. The final stage is the speech gesture level, where phonemes activate muscles like your tongue and lips, turning thoughts into speech. As you say, she broke the vase, your brain coordinates movement in real time, even while planning the next sentence. What an incredible process, right? From abstract ideas to spoken word, sentence production showcases the brilliance of human communication.